Yeah, I mean, I saw an interview with Mark Cuban and what's her name again, Rachel Maddow, but I couldn't tell which was which.
All right, so Mark Cuban foolishly is embarrassing himself and Kamala Harris after he made a couple of rounds on the media, particularly CNBC, and he was interviewed after a rally. I believe he's finding it increasingly difficult to defend his candidate, and I think he's hedging his bets on who's going to win, but also playing both sides. You're going to see that in this video, which I find interesting. But let's start with the first clip where he fails to defend Kamala Harris when it comes to immigration. Watch.
So when it comes to criminalizing and not criminalizing crossing the border, I mean, that is just so stark, but you view that as an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my opinion. I'm not speaking for the campaign with this. Yeah. I thought their hearts were too big when Joe came into office, that they didn't know how many people would cross the border, and it got away from them. But they figured it out. They learned. And what did they do? He put together an executive order, and now the number of border crossings is down to where they were under Trump, maybe a little lower. She says she's going to sign the border bill, which is very clear where she stands now. But let me tell you, Aaron, the most important thing that has not been discussed, Donald Trump and Kamala both have said when it comes to illegals that are in the country that have violated the law, that are criminals, they're going to deport them. Donald Trump hasn't said what he's going to do to deport anybody else.
All right, so listen. We got to give him some credit because you know what? We know the border was a disaster. It's still a disaster because he's right. They're too compassionate. They have more compassion for these illegal migrants than they do for our own veterans. I mean, it's insane. And I guarantee people would have respected her new generation of leadership talk if she took some level of responsibility for the border. But we know she can't help herself, right? Because everything is Trump's fault. Okay, so that's the new message. Well, I guess Mark Cuban did not get that memo because he didn't say that. Now, what is interesting also was, I mean, he was trying to facilitate a meeting between Kamala Harris and Elon Musk to be hosted on the X platform. Again, just a funny way of defending your candidate, right? Watch this.
I'm a news guy. We all want the interview. I'd actually like her to see her do. No, I'd actually.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
to
literally,
see her
I've
do
had the
X.
conversation. I've had the conversation with
I'd like to see her do X and have a conversation with Elon Musk. I actually think that would actually be a fascinating.
No, I'll tell you exactly what not Kamala specifically, but her team. I'm like, I can try to facilitate a meeting with Elon, and they didn't trust the fact that he wouldn't go on X and just say something to distort the purpose of the meeting.
Okay, so in other words, what he's really saying is Kamala Harris would not do this. Okay, she's not going to do and X Spaces with Elon Musk. Okay, it's an uncontrolled environment. She'll have a total meltdown. Okay, that's really what he's saying and what her campaign is saying. Okay, now listen, what I find to be even more interesting than that is how he continues to contradict her messaging. So she's been touting that she's going to tax unrealized capital gains, but then he comes out and he says this.
When you were asked about the possibility of taxing unrealized capital gains, you said if you really thought that the vice president would do that you'd campaign against her. So I guess that was a true comment you made. And then my follow-up
so what
question.
I said was, I said it's not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. If for some reason she lied about it, I would campaign against her so there wouldn't be a second term.
Okay. Then what I was going to ask you is, and I'm not going to go through, these are there's like 20 things, but I'll just pick out a couple that I think would be really scary. If she were to try to abolish the filibuster, if you knew she was going to do...
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Next.
And then how about free health care for all the
She doesn't talk about
illegal...
that. So here's exactly what she's talking about with health care.
But there were some things she has said. I can pick out probably 10 things where...
Well, Joe, I can go back to an interview.
You would say, yeah, I'd campaign against her. So what do you like?
All right, so funny choice of words. I would campaign against her if she does that. You should be campaigning against her now. You know better, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban used to be exactly what Trump is now. But we don't want to go down that road because we know he's either woke or he's hedging his bets because he wants something out of this and he doesn't believe he can get it from Trump. So he went to Kamala Harris. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that we know he's bitter when it comes to Elon Musk too. And Elon Musk has been trolling him as well. They've been going back and forth. And so listen to his response when they asked him about Elon Musk and how he's paying people $1 million per day to sign his petition for free speech and the right to bear arms. Watch.
Let's talk about Elon Musk. He's been critical of you. You've been critical of him. What do you make in particular of this weekend's new effort to get people to the polls, that he is using $1 million a day? He's offering up for those who effectively sign his petition and register to vote.
I mean, it's innovative and it's desperate. You know, you only do that because you think you have to, but, you know, using a sweepstakes is not a bad idea. Whether or not it'll work is a whole nother thing. It just as easily could backfire, but you don't know until you try.
Do you think it's legal?
I mean, I actually looked into it. I initially thought it might not have been, but as a sweepstakes, it looks like it may be. But from a FEC perspective, I have no idea.
I mean, it must be agonizing for these people that Elon Musk is just too smart for these people, okay? And not just too smart, book smart, but like results wise, no one comes close. Mark Cuban, I mean, this guy's a hater. He's bitter. We know, right? He has no answer for it, so he's got to make something up, just like Kamala Harris did in her interview about it. They don't like that Elon Musk is supporting Trump, even though they have about, 1,000 billionaires on their side. But hey, that's a whole nother thing.
So they asked me about the gender gap, and I'm a geek, right? I use all technology. You know, you want to know the difference between Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, I'll tell you. So I'm that geeky. And when they asked me, I thought about it before because it's obvious. You know what it's like, right? You're scrolling. And the more you look at one thing, if you watch one video, you're getting more of those videos. And for guys, it's even more so because you start watching football, then you get an Andrew Tate video. That leads to a Donald Trump video. And then you get more and more and more Donald Trump videos. And it's just a reinforcing loop. And so that's why I got to that conclusion.
All right, so this is just getting hilarious at this point. And before I go any further, you guys already know what it is, okay? If you're getting value from this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so we can get this out to more people like you and me. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below this video and grab yourself a t-shirt or a sweater, our merch store, or you can buy us a cup of coffee. Now, I want to actually go in reverse just really quickly here and kind of take you to the point where Mark Cuban finally assumed his role as an official surrogate for Kamala Harris, because I thought it's funny how he switched up his image, because now you see him wearing these glasses where he looks like Rachel Maddow. And what's interesting is when he started wearing the glasses was when he finally did an interview with her. Watch this.
In terms of the targeting that he is talking about for a second term, and what we saw in his first term when he picked out individual businesses or sometimes individual business leaders who he wanted to use the government to punish, when he went after Amazon and Jeff Bezos, when he went after saying he wanted to go after Mark Zuckerberg, when he did other things that were targeting businesses because of what were perceived to be his political interests, I would have thought that that would have made him radioactive in the business world, because business people are too smart to think that they can always be on the right side of those calculations, right? That they won't ever be the one who's in the crosshairs once you've got somebody who uses the government that way to reward and punish his enemies and his friends.
Well, you don't hear a whole lot of CEOs other than Elon Musk, particularly of large companies, coming out and supporting him for that very reason. You know, you don't hear them condemning him because they're worried about his retribution or his vengeance. But literally, there's been nobody that I know other than Elon that has come out in support of him.
Okay, so he doesn't want to talk about the men who host the All In podcast, right? Okay. Anyways, listen, here's my point about Mark Cuban. He doesn't even know what to say at that point, right? He's still trying to figure this out. That's one. Two, we know that's not the way you dress and the way that you look, Mark Cuban. Come on, stop it with the glasses, all right? Because it's making us real hard to tell who's who when doing that interview. And number three, no, CEOs are not coming out and saying anything against Donald Trump because they think he's going to retaliate against them. They're not saying anything because they know Kamala Harris is a joke, okay? And they don't want to get caught in the crossfires, because politics can be damaging to someone's business today, which is why you got to respect Elon Musk for doing what he's doing. See, Mark Cuban already saw this coming a mile away, right? Remember, he sold majority of his stake of the Dallas Mavericks, right? And then he's stepping away from Shark Tank. So clearly he was already planning to do something like this. So anyways, no, we don't buy that whatsoever. Trump never actually retaliated. He never indicted anybody. He never weaponized the DOJ. Show me the results of that. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't. Okay, so I know that I've been ripping Mark Cuban this entire video, but why don't we give someone else a shot at it? And here Elon Musk's response when he hosted a town hall in his comment about Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an interview with Mark Cuban and what's her name again? Rachel Maddow. But I couldn't tell which was which.
Okay, so there's a part of me that I don't believe that Mark Cuban truly believes in what he is saying. I believe he is sane and he is doing what he needs to do to get to where he wants to go. Meaning he's just like Kamala Harris, a chameleon, willing to switch up at any moment's notice to adapt. And when it comes to politics, it's a great trait to have, obviously. But when it comes to the working class and blue collar workers and actually getting votes, I don't think that's going to work whatsoever. Now, what's interesting, this isn't my opinion. This is his words. Watch this.
I just kind of wanted to know, like, the role you play as a businessman and as a father. What are you doing to sort of, I guess, close that gap? Is it talking to people like me and journalists and talking to young voters? I guess, where's your role in this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a chameleon.
Yeah, so if we wanted to judge Mark Cuban as a surrogate, he gets an F too. I mean, it's hard being a surrogate for Kamala Harris. Can we be honest, right? I mean, her whole damn campaign is a lie. She's fake as they come. She has no policies to run on, and the policies that she does have, they're weak at best if you compare them to Trump. She doesn't get the same amount of attention and does not have the same loyalty base as Trump. People are only voting for her because they have to, right? I mean, this isn't a candidate that they voted for. This is a candidate that was handed the nomination. It's different. This voting for her is more about they hate Trump. They don't want to see Trump back in office. So I don't consider her a strong candidate. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't have a chance to win. She does. She could win. And listen, life is going to go on if that was to happen. But I still am in the position today where I believe that she's going to lose if we just stick to the fundamentals of elections.
You obviously enjoy what you're doing, and God bless you. You got $1 billion. You're still going to have a G650 after this election. So what the hell?
Yeah, it's what's best for the country. That's what I care about. And look, let me just add, if Trump wins, last time when he won, he asked me to help on healthcare, on PPE. I sat with Peter Navarro and helped him come up with a mask company and help them grow. And that was all domestic production. I'll do the same thing. I'm America first.
And so maybe Mark Cuban, instead of spending all of his time trying to troll Elon Musk and hate on him, he might need to educate himself on how to be a better surrogate for Kamala Harris. And that is just my opinion. So what about you? What do you guys think about Mark Cuban and his fall from grace and where he is today? Now he's switched up his image. You can't tell if it's Mark Cuban or Rachel Maddow. I know that's a joke. But what do you guys think about all this craziness that's happening with him? Let me know in the comment section below. And by the way, I have the same advice for Kamala Harris. Instead of focusing so much on Trump and hating on him, why don't you focus on what the swing voters want to hear from you? There's an actual video that I did talking about what swing voters are saying about Kamala Harris, and it's not good, by the way. And if you want to watch that video, you can click on it because it's coming up right now.